Hello everyone and welcome, and thank you for joining today's eKYC or Electronic Know Your Customer in ANZ Transactive Global training webinar. My name is Natalie and I'm from the institutional banking team here in Australia, and today I'm joined by my colleague Dave, who is our product owner for eKYC, and we are delighted to have you here as we explore this upcoming new feature. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm joining you from Perth, Western Australia, the lands of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I also extend my acknowledgement to the traditional owners of the lands from which you are joining us from today. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Our training webinars are designed to help you unlock the full potential and get the most out of ANZ Transactive Global, our digital web and mobile banking channel. Through a single interface, you can access common services such as cash management, trade finance, loans, commercial cards, foreign exchange, and data insights. Today's session is designed to help you understand the new enhancement to ANZ Transactive Global that will make user onboarding faster, simpler, and more secure. We will be introducing the new functionality that allows customer administrators to create 2FA or two-factor authentication users directly within ANZ Transactive Global and enable those users to complete their KYC or Know Your Customer requirements through a new electronic Know Your Customer process. Today's session will be covering what's changing and how this can help your organisation and users, how the end-to-end user onboarding process will flow, a live demonstration of both the administration and enhancements and eKYC, and the rollout information and future enhancements. You will notice that the Teams chat function is disabled. However, you can ask questions using the Q&A tab at the top of the screen. My colleagues are online and will answer as many questions as possible as we go. Today's training session is being recorded. The video and a copy of the question and answers, including any questions we're unable to answer during the session, will be published in ANZ Digital Services Help in the coming days, so you can re-watch or share with colleagues who weren't able to join us live. And with that, I'll now hand over to Dave, who will take you through our webinar today. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Nat. Okay, before we take a look at what's changing, how it works, I wanted to briefly cover the current experience many of our customers go through today when they're onboarding new payment approvers with two-factor authentication. Today, we know it can take several days, in many cases 5 to 10 business days, to get that new user or payment approver onto Transactive Global. The process typically starts by either completing paper maintenance forms that need to be signed off by 2 authorised representatives within your organisation, or by submitting a service request through Transactive Global, which also requires approval from authorised representatives. Once ANZ receives that request, we then require that new user to complete their identity verification, which is also known as KYC. So for context, whenever you hear me talk about KYC, it stands for Know Your Customer, and essentially it's the process of completing the identity verification of individuals to make sure that ANZ can meet regulatory requirements. That KYC process traditionally involves the new user having to book an appointment at an ANZ branch or having them sharing their identity documents over email. And once all of that's complete, ANZ can then fulfill the request and onboard the user. So up until now, that's been relatively a manual process, and we appreciate it's not a very convenient experience for busy organisations and their staff. So our new enhancement is designed to streamline that process and help new users get up and running much quicker. From August 2026, we will now allow administrators to create new two-factor authentication users directly within the administration menu and assign them with ANZ Digital Key. So ANZ Digital Key, of course, is our mobile app that can be downloaded on an iPhone or an Android device, and it provides multi-factor authentication and greater security when accessing ANZ Transactive Global. Your admins can also upgrade existing company-managed users who currently log on with a password so that they can also have the stronger security with ANZ Digital Key. And when you assign ANZ Digital Key along with an appropriate role, such as the ability to approve payments, for example, ANZ will automatically initiate a digital identity verification process for that new user using our new eKYC solution. So we'll cover that in a bit, but essentially that allows the new user to complete their ID check remotely and securely without having to visit a branch. All they need is just their mobile device, an eligible ID, so a passport or a license, and it can all be done in less than 5 minutes. So once it's successfully completed, the new user will receive an automated email with instructions on how to log on to ANZ Transactive Global. So we've invested in automating this workflow and digitizing the process so that we can actually help your organization get new users into Transactive Global much quicker. We've actually been trialing this new enhancement with select customers over the past few months, and we've seen some really great examples where customers have had new users with the ability to approve and release payments up and running in less than an hour. So the digital identity verification process is obviously a much more convenient option than having to schedule time out of a busy working day just to visit a branch. The other benefit with this enhancement is that administrators can now create eligible payment approvers themselves directly in the administration feature without needing to involve or chase signatures from busy company directors or other authorised representatives. And finally, with ANZ Digital Key, the user will have much stronger credentials to securely access ANZ Transactive Global. Now, we might just go into a demonstration of that process so you can actually see what it looks like end to end. After logging on to ANZ Transactive Global, your administrators can navigate to the administration menu and select to create a new user, just like they do today for any company managed user. They'll complete the user details as per normal, but what you'll notice is a new section that displays, which allows them to assign ANZ Digital Key to the user. Selecting that option will make the mobile number field mandatory because that's required to activate their ANZ Digital Key. Your admin can then assign the appropriate permissions to the new user. So if you just require that user to have the ability to view account reporting or initiate payments, you could simply assign the applicable role and you could click submit, just like you normally do. In this case, those particular features don't require any identity verification. So once we submit and approve this request, the user would receive an email with a user ID and instructions on how to activate their new profile and their ANZ Digital Key. Now, if you wanted to set up a user to access or approve and release payments, you would assign the appropriate role, such as the approve role. And once you've selected that, you will now see a new section displayed called the feature access section. This will ask a simple question that basically asks you to confirm whether that individual needs to be the final approver of payments or access the get rate feature. These particular features require ANZ to complete an identity check. So when you select yes, then ANZ will initiate the eKYC process for that new user. You do have the option to select no here. This would simply onboard the user with ANZ Digital Key, but the eKYC process will not be triggered. So while they might be able to approve payments, they wouldn't be able to become the final approver that actually releases the payment to ANZ for processing, or they would not be able to use the get rate feature. Assuming you select yes, you'll notice one last question that appears to specify the regions the user needs to comply with for KYC purposes. This is generally determined based on the accounts that the user requires access to. So for organisations operating exclusively in Australia, only one country will be listed and you wouldn't see the New Zealand option. The demo today is actually demonstrating what a client would see if they operated across Australia and New Zealand. This section was particularly included because we actually received a lot of customer feedback for users who only required access to operator accounts from one region and that they shouldn't need to have to complete KYC for another region. Once these details are completed, you can click submit and you'll see a pop-up requesting you to confirm the user's legal name and contact details. It's important that you ensure these details are correct and they align with the user's identity documents, so their license or their passport. This makes sure that the user is able to successfully complete the KYC process smoothly. We do recommend checking this information with the new user before you submit it, because if the name doesn't match their ID document, their identity check may fail and it can delay the user onboarding process. But if that does happen, our team will get in contact with your administrators to request you to update the name so that it aligns with their ID document. Once you confirm the details and submit it to the new user, it will require another administrator to approve the request. So once that's approved, the new user will actually receive an email from ANZ confirming that they've now been onboarded and that identity verification is required, just like you can see on the screen here. Both the administrators will be copied in on that email, and that's done intentionally for two reasons. Firstly, it makes sure that the admins have visibility that we've actually initiated the identity verification process. And secondly, it provides the new user with a contact point in case they perceive this email as a phishing email. The users then sent another email exclusively to them with their unique code and instructions on how to complete the eKYC process. And we will take a look at that in a moment. If a user happens to forget to action that email, a reminder will be sent after 7 days and after 14 days. And once eKYC is successfully completed, the new user will receive an email with instructions on how to activate their new profile in ANZ Transactive Global. So let's now take a look at the eKYC demonstration. We're just going to play a video here that talks us through the process. But as mentioned, the new user can complete their identity verification remotely, online, and securely using a mobile device. Following the instructions from the email, the user will navigate to anz.com/eKYC, and they would sign in with their email address and the unique code that's contained in that email. They'd then be presented with a privacy notice which explains how we collect, use and share their data to confirm their identity. And following that step, they can now select the preferred ID document they want to use. In this example, we're going to demonstrate with a license, but we do support passports as well, and I'll touch on that a bit later as well. The new user will then be guided to take a photo of their ID document. For licenses, both the front and the back are both required. And as you take the photo, the image is displayed back to the user just to give them an opportunity to confirm it's clear, readable, and ready to submit before we move on to the next step. And you do have the option to retake the image if you need to. And once those photos are taken, the screen will then automatically populate with all the details that we've pulled directly off the ID document to save them time. They can review and update anything missing, including their middle name, and there are a couple of extra fields that are required, such as gender, country of citizenship, and occupation. Finally, the new user will then have to take a selfie just to confirm it is indeed them submitting their own ID document. So we'll just watch that. And once that's done, the process is actually complete. So this eKYC submission process can actually be completed in under 5 minutes. From a security perspective, the information provided by the user is actually sent through ANZ's secure eKYC channel and is protected using encryption. So it's significantly more secure than sharing information over email. Behind the scenes, our system automatically completes the identity check, and once it's successful, the new user will receive an automated email with instructions on how to activate their new ANZ Transactive Global profile. If there's any issues with the verification for any reason, the bank will be in touch with the user and give them instructions on how to progress their identity verification. Now, I know we just showed the process of verifying verifying identity using a license. It's a very similar experience for users who hold an Australian or New Zealand passport as well. But we are actually introducing a new enhancement from this weekend that expands support for ePassports from up to 48 countries. This process works a little bit different, but it's designed to be just as simple and intuitive. So using the NFC capability built into most modern mobile devices, users will actually be guided to tap and hold their phone against their passport, and the solution securely reads the information stored on the passport's embedded microchip. And that enables them to complete their identity verification in a fast, secure, and seamless way. There are a few important points to be aware of about this new enhancements. This enhancement is going to be progressively enabled from August to customers operating exclusively in Australia, where they're using a dual or triple administration model. That means essentially they've got Maker Checker enabled for administration changes. Any organisations using a single administration model, they're typically sole traders, are not currently supported. We are expecting to extend this enhancement to New Zealand customers later in the year, including customers that operate across both regions, Australia and New Zealand. It's also worth noting that ANZ Digital Key is currently the only available security device option. Physical tokens cannot be signed currently, but it is part of our future roadmap. And finally, some roles continue to be bank managed. So that includes roles such as customer admin, division admin, and some of our service request roles. So if a user does need this access to these roles, then please follow the current process. So overall, we're really excited about this enhancement, and we think it's another step in simplifying how organisations manage access to ANZ Transactive Global. We hope this helps your business onboard users faster, more securely, and with less administration effort. That's all from me, but just wanted to say thank you for joining the session today.
Very interesting and insightful, and thank you for joining us today. Before we wrap up, I would like to share with you the support material we'll have available in ANZ Digital Services Help. So if we can navigate to ANZ Transactive Global and select Help from the application banner in the top right. This will open ANZ Digital Services Help in a new window, and here you'll find our self-service database of step-by-step guides, instructional videos, and frequently asked questions for our digital channels. If we scroll down to Browse by Topic and select Security, you will find a couple of articles relating to the eKYC we've just spoken about, including some frequently asked questions and a link to a short instructional video as well. So that brings us to the end of our eKYC training webinar. We hope that this has provided you with a clear understanding of how these enhancements to administration and eKYC can help simplify and accelerate your ANZ Transactive Global user onboarding process. On the page I'm now displaying is a list of our upcoming webinars, together with a QR code to register for these events. And I would like to highlight our next session on the 12th of August, where we will introduce the fresh but familiar ANZ Transactive Global user interface. In this session, we'll walk you through the modernised dashboard, widgets and screens, along with some simple navigational changes. We look forward to you joining us for this exciting interface uplift to our banking channel. I would also like to remind you that a recording of today's session, as well as the question and answers, will be added to ANZ Digital Services Help in the coming days, should you wish to revisit or share with your colleagues. And you can get to ANZ Digital Services Help by scanning the QR code that is currently on your screen. We hope this session has been of value and look forward to you attending our future ANZ Transactive Global training webinars. Thank you.